Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel and enable bell notification to never miss an update from us.
Hello everyone, this is Ashima and in this video we'll be talking about daily current affairs. Now in this video we'll be talking about the news events. That means that the news events are going to help you evolve your notes, increase your notes efficiency to your examination level and create those notes for the purpose that even when you're preparing for interview, those notes help you in that preparation. Right, so that is why this video is more of a detail oriented video where we'll be talking about all the important points related to the news event. But for those who want to practice the quiz or questions alongside, for them we have everyday live quiz that happens on Entri app. It's a 15-minute quiz, doesn't take much of your time, maximum 15 minutes timed quiz, which will help you keep in touch with the news events and the question format that are there, which can be asked from in the examinations from the daily news events that are there, right? So all of you do take the quiz. This quiz is going to be available on Entri app, right? So now we'll be moving ahead with the discussion of news events. The first news event we are going to talk about is guidelines on social media regulation that have been released recently. Now, this is basically an IT Rules 2021 or Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code 2021 that have been released by Information and Broadcasting and MEIT Ministry recently. So, what is the purpose? First of all, the idea is that there should be a code of ethics for all the OTTs, for platforms, for digital media, and a regulation to be inserted into them so that they can be regulated alongside. Right. So, what are the guidelines that have been released? First of all the OTT platforms will have to classify the content, self classify the content. That is, no other body is going to do it for them. They can do it on their own, but they have to do it as a category of universal or 7 plus or 13 plus or 16 plus or adult. And if it is an adult movie or adult content, then age verification should come into factor, and for 13 plus content there has to be parental lock and approval from parent for that purpose, right? Then publisher of the content needs to display the rating and advising on viewer description in beginning of every video. So there has to be, just like we have a disclaimer, similar to that, advisory and classification rating has to be displayed in the beginning of the content for any content that is available on OTT platform, right? Then apart from that, there are certain things that the people need to take care of or the organization needs to take care of, especially in terms like maintaining the sovereignty and integrity of India. That is, no such content should be circulated on social media which defies the sovereignty and integrity of India, which breaks the people of India, which breaks the public order or has the power to break public order, or has a sexually explicit content, as rape content, or promotes something with that sort. Then if any of such thing happens, they have to regulate it, and in case something like this happens, then there is a jail term of 5 years or imprisonment of 5 years. Then intermediaries are also required to disclose the content of any message or any other information to the first originator. They don't need to disclose the contents of any message. Intermediaries also have to have physical contact address of in India. So if any digital media platform, social media platform is running in India, they have to have a physical office in India. Why? Because in case something wrong happens, there we have someone to hold accountability. Can reach out to someone. People can reach out to someone. They can release their advisory or their grievances to someone. So, for example, Google is a media platform in India. So Google has to have an office, a physical office, not just a virtual office or a service center. A physical office in India, or a physical address has to be there, and that needs to be published also on website, on app, or on both, whatever they have, right? So that people can contact them in case they have any issue regarding any problem, right? No service center, it has to be a physical address as well, right? Apart from that, what else do we have? We have already seen about the yeah, there has to be a monthly compliance report that need to be published by the publishers of news, current affairs contents, aggregators. All of them have to publish a monthly compliance report as well. And what does this report have to have? It has to have all the grievances that were received against or in favor of, basically against all the news events that were published, and what was done to address to that complaint that was received, right? So that needs to be published by every publisher of news and current affairs content creator in India. Then social media platforms have to appoint a chief compliance officer who will see that all the regulations are being followed by the company, and a nodal contact person has to be there who needs to be in touch with the law enforcement agencies 24/7 for in case any law breakage happens. There has to be someone of a contact person, right? So contact person needs to be there, a chief compliance officer needs to be there. Then whichever content has been put online, that has to keep in mind India's sovereignty, its relations with other countries, and any content which defies it or creates an issue in that, then definitely there is a punishment for that. Then within 36 hours, the content, any offensive content needs to be removed. If a content has been stated by a court as offensive, by any government as offensive, the social media has to take it down its platform within 36 hours. And if it is a sexually offensive content, then within 24 hours, that content should be removed from all the platforms that have uploaded it, right? Then there are three levels of regulation that have been there for all the news publishers. What are the three regulations? First is self-regulation. They have to regulate their words. What words are they using? What content are they printing? Second of all, there has to be a self-regulatory body also. In the office, there has to be a body which checks on whether the people are following all the guidelines and are being regulated. And this regulatory body has to be headed by a retired chief or someone who knows about law, eminent person. And then an oversight from INB is going to be there definitely for all the news publishers, right? So this is all the media guidelines that have been released recently, which are quite needed at the time, because we have seen so many fake news being circulated, so many forwards carrying offensive things, or misinterpretation of a lot of things being circulated. So there has to be a regulation of certain sort, and this is a good step being taken by Government of India on that part. Then we have guidelines on cybersecurity, which were released by IRDAI in 2017, but now they are being reviewed and certain new things might come to force. So for that purpose, a committee has been created, a panel has been created for 2 months. So that panel is going to work on a lots of matters, and that is going to address for 2 months duration, and that is going to be chaired, and that is going to regulate all the new guidelines that need to be integrated into the system of cybersecurity for financial system. Now, what are those guidelines that were released and are supposedly going to be released? That is, a committee will be responsible for conducting vulnerability assessment and penetration test. Now, that is that how strong is the firewall of any system of any financial system has a firewall, definitely. So how easy it is to crack that firewall, that is going to be there. So vulnerability test has to be done. Then apart from that, there has to be annual comprehensive assurance audit that has to be conducted, and that report has to be submitted to IRDAI on timely basis so that they can review on that, right? Then this working group is also going to look on how the guidelines can be applicable. What steps should be taken to make those guidelines applicable for those who are accessing the insurer's IT system, right? Then second of all, what guidelines should be measured or taken care of when you're working from remote location, you're working from mobiles, you're using clouds, cloud storage, fintech solutions. What should be done? What can be done, right? So for that purpose, this IRDI panel has been created. Then State of School Feeding Worldwide report has been published by UNWFP, United Nations World Food Programme, which states that 1 in 2 children, that would count as around 388 million people around the world, they have received school meals when pandemic was at peak. And this shows what importance schools hold at the time of pandemic, or in the lives of nutritional, in terms of nutritional requirement of people or school people, right? Then Rajasthan model of public health has been released recently in the budget of Rajasthan recently. So already the budget allocation was 3,500 crores for Rajasthan. And in that, they have decided to focus on healthcare more of it, because there are going to be 25 district headquarters of nursing colleges. 8 districts are going to have one nursing college. Other 8 districts will have one nursing college at least. Then public health colleges are going to be established, and Rajasthan model of public health that you can see over here. Now, this is something which is relevant to right to health bill, and it sees on the rights of patients. So, this is going to involve preventive care measures, primary health care measures, and curative measures. Prevention of diseases is going to be promoted. If infected, primary care measures are going to be promoted. That is how primary care should be taken, and primary care healthcare centers should be available and accessible to the people. And the third thing is curative care measures. Those and recommendations of WHO are going to be taken into consideration. Now, what is going to be in public health, Rajasthan health model? So, Rajasthan health model has been announced along with the budget that was released by Rajasthan recently. So, budget announcement had happened, or budget presentation had happened of Rajasthan, which involved around 3,500 crores, which have been allocated to the state of Rajasthan. And they have decided to focus it more on healthcare infrastructure of the state. So there will be 25 district headquarters where nursing colleges are going to be set up. Then 8 districts are going to have one nursing college. Third of all, public health colleges are going to be set up. And fourth of all is this Rajasthan model of public health, which is somewhat reflecting the right to health bill. Now, in this model, the state will have preventive care measures, primary care measures, and curative care measures. So, first of all, prevention of diseases, what measures should be taken? Then, primary health care center, that is, whenever any infection or anything happens, any healthcare emergencies, there should be primary healthcare center where they can approach first. And then curative care measures as per the guidelines of WHO are going to be followed in the state. Then next of all, this Universal Health Coverage Plan is there, which will provide a health cover of 5 lakh rupees to every family. Now, out of this, those people who are already a part of Ayushman Bharat Mahatma Gandhi Rajasthan Swasthya Bima Yojana, they will get the benefits for free. This 5 lakh health cover is going to be of free. Those who are contract workers, small workers, marginal farmers, small farmers, they will also get it for free. Ayushman Bharat Mahatma Gandhi Rajasthan Swasthya Bima Yojana, and contract workers, small and marginal farmers, they will be getting it for free. But what about other people? Other people will have to pay, or will have to make a contribution into this by paying 50% cost of the premium. 50% of the cost of premium is going to be paid by the people, whereas the other 50% is going to be borne by the state government. Right, and the treatment will be completely cashless. Up to 5 lakh per year, the treatment is going to be cashless as well, and this is applicable to all hospitals, including the private hospitals. So government and private hospitals both will be applying this scheme. Right, then we have TRIPS waiver. First of all, what exactly is TRIPS? TRIPS came into effect of 1995 as trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, the full form of TRIPS. Now, what was the purpose of TRIPS? That is, it is a multilateral agreement for intellectual property rights. So, anyone is filing a patent, has a copyright on certain thing, any undisclosed information of trade secrets, that all is protected via TRIPS. So, supposing I have a copyright on certain thing, or I have a patent of certain thing, no one can use that, and that is insured under TRIPS. Now, India has recently proposed a TRIPS waiver on COVID-19 vaccine. Why? So that it is more easily accessible to all the groups of people or countries. All the countries can access to it. The rates are going to definitely drop to a certain extent when the formula is open to all, or there's no patent to a certain group or organization or a company. And that is the proposal of India. But other developed nations are against it for obvious reasons. It is going to create a drop, especially European Union, Russia, and USA. They are all against it. And WTO is the organization which regulates TRIPS. So WTO is going to have a regulation on whether TRIPS waiver should be there on COVID-19 or COVID-19 vaccines or not. Then we'll be having a look at a few one-liners. Now, India has got chairmanship of BRICS. And now BRICS chairmanship is easy to remember as the fact that it moves in a periodic manner. Like in the acronymal manner, it moves ahead. So last year the chairmanship was with Russia. Now it is with India. Then AIIB has given 304 million US dollars for Assam Power Transmission Project, and ADB, Asian Development Bank, had given for better power project or smart power project in Bengaluru. The Bengaluru project was funded by ADB, and AIIB is funding Assam Power Transmission Project, right? Then Australia has passed news media and digital platforms mandatory bargaining code. Now this code is a very highlighted code as of now. Why? Because according to this, Australian government bans, or you can say lays a filter on who can publish the news of Australia. So for any social media platform to publish, any news media platform to publish news of Australia, they have to have an agreement with the government of Australia. And platforms like Facebook and Google, they also have to have agreement with the company they are sending a link of. So the viewership has to be there, or rights have to be there. For example, in terms of India, if we say that there is the Hindu, right? Now it publishes certain news and the link is available on Google. Now Google cannot display that link until unless it has an agreement and it is paying the Hindu for that purpose. That is something similar to what Australia has passed. And for this, the Facebook and Google definitely are against. Google states that it is definitely benefiting both the parties, so why should one party pay for it? And the Facebook has opposed it immensely, and they have also stopped the people of Australia from sharing the information on Facebook anymore. So they cannot see international news, and they cannot forward any messages, any news event on Facebook now, as per the Australia's decision. Now, regarding this, we also have to know about GAFA. Now, GAFA tax was introduced in France in 2017. So, and GAFA tax involves Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Alibaba. These big companies, these are involved, and Apple. So, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, these are the four companies that are covered under GAFA tax. Now, this tax, usually when there's a multinational company that sets up an office in a particular country, they are a multi-billionaire company, they don't pay tax. But France has introduced this tax under which 3% tax they have to pay. Then European Union changed guidelines recently and put a filter on these social media platforms. So European Union, India, France, Australia, all of them have started regulating these social media platforms in whatever way they find suitable and required. Then we have Finance Minister of India has allowed all private banks to participate in government business. Now, this is a major decision towards privatization of banks, as we can say, because not exactly privatization of banks, but basically involvement of private sector into government business. What government business we are talking about? That is disbursement of pensions and you know various services of government that are given to people. So earlier, RBI had a regulatory measure, that is that only big private companies could do that, private banks could do that, otherwise it was given to government bank. Now the role of RBI has been removed, that is all private banks can do that. Embargo has been removed and all private banks can carry out the business of government on its platform. And the say of government is that it is going to increase the competition in the market, which will lead to better services being delivered. Right? This is the say of government of India in this. Then Vijay Sampala has been appointed as the new chairman of National Commission of Scheduled Castes. And Vijay Sampala was earlier the Union Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. Right. So earlier he's a former Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. From 2015 to 19, he was a minister. Who is the current Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment? That is Thawar Chand Gehlot. And which commission does he chair? Thawar Chand Gehlot chairs the Commission on Transgender Persons. So National Commission on Transgender Persons is chaired by the Social Justice Union Minister. Right. Then Cabinet has approved a PLI scheme for pharmaceuticals and IT hardware recently. PLI scheme is an incentive-based or output-generated scheme for which the base year is 2019-20. First thing, 2019-20 is the base year for PLI scheme. Second of all, it was initially launched for mobile companies, but now it has been extended to all other sectors as well. Right? So that is for the purpose of PLI scheme is to boost the domestic manufacturing. So if an incremental manufacturing is there from 1920 base year, then there's an incentive that is going to be given. Now, outlay has also been decided. Now, this scheme was initially launched for 5 years from 2019-20 to 2025. So now we are left with 4 years. So for that 4 years, there's around 7,350 crores that have been outlaid for, right? Then next is Ghana has become the first country to get free COVID vaccines through COVAX scheme. COVAX scheme was a World Health Organization which was funded by Gavi. So Gavi is the funding one. So any vaccination program is basically funded by Gavi for any country. And WHO has recently launched COVAX scheme. So for that, COVID vaccine of AstraZeneca was given to Ghana recently as per this scheme. Then Linda Thomas Greenfield has been appointed as US Ambassador to United Nations. Sardar Patel Stadium of Ahmedabad has been renamed as Narendra Modi Stadium. This stadium is world's biggest cricket stadium. Right. First of all, it is the world's biggest cricket stadium, and this was created by the then Chief Minister Narendra Modi ji only. So that is the reason why it has been renamed after him. Then we have International Commission on Large Dams Symposium on Sustainable Development of Dams and River Basins that has been inaugurated by Minister of Jal Shakti Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat recently. Right? And if we talk about the symposium, it is being organized in association with Dam Rehabilitation and Improvement Program, that is DRIP program, by Central Water Commission and National Hydrology Project. So NHP, CWC and DRIP, these three are working together for conducting this ICOLD, and this is going to be held in New Delhi as a hybrid event with around 300 delegates from India and abroad. Right. Then with this, we wind up the segment. Thank you so much. It has been wonderful interacting with all of you, and I'll see you soon with another set of news events, more news events to discuss. Until then, follow the channel for more updates on various updates that are happening in and around the world, and do like the video and share the video as much as you can. See you soon. Goodbye. Take care and have a wonderful day ahead.